Today, we explore the least used station on the Washington Metro. Then we travel to the farthest station, from which we try to go even farther using transit. It's an adventure that'll have us riding a bus operated by a nonprofit and visiting a small town just miles from West Virginia. So this video started with one question. I wanted to know how far away you could get from Washington, D.C. using only public transportation. But the thing is, that's a difficult question to answer because it depends on how you define public transportation. Do you count Amtrak? Do you count Greyhound? In that case, you can travel thousands of miles. Even if you don't count those, where do you start measuring? The center of DC? The border? Too many questions. I needed a baseline. So I took the backbone of the DC transit network, the Washington Metro. Now, the farthest station from Metro Center in Washington, DC is Ashburn in Loudoun County, Virginia, on the Silver Line. The station opened in 2022 as part of the Silver Line extension. Now that we've established that Ashburn is the farthest station, I wanted to travel to Ashburn and then take transit to travel as far away from the farthest metro station. So the Silver Line was not officially part of the original metro when it was planned and built in the 60s and 70s, but there was always kind of an understanding that when the system would inevitably be expanded, a route to Dulles Airport would be one of those expansions. In fact, where the line today splits off from the Orange Line in Falls Church, crews had already built bases for the pillars that would eventually carry the Silver Line over the Orange Line. Problem is, they lost the documents that proved that those bases were structurally sound, so when they actually started on the Silver Line, they had to inspect every single one. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The Silver Line was officially approved in 2004. It would be built in two phases. Phase 1 would extend to Wheelie-Reston East. Phase 2, beyond, towards Dulles Airport. The reason they built Phase 1 all the way to Reston was to guarantee that yes, they really were planning to go to Dulles. Construction was overseen by the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority, since the line was to be built in the median of the Dulles Access Road and the Dulles Toll Road, which they own. Construction was not always smooth sailing. I mentioned the pillar bases earlier, and another big issue was the route through Tysons. There was a disagreement between groups who preferred a mostly elevated alignment and those who wanted to dig a tunnel underground. Eventually, the elevated route was built. In 2014, Phase 1 opened, with stations at McLean, Tysons, Greensboro, Spring Hill, and Wheelie-Reston East. Phase 2 was underway as well, and the hopes were that Phase 2 would open by 2016. Once again, there was an elevated versus underground dispute, this time revolving around Dulles Airport. The elevated station was eventually built to save money, but throughout the construction of Phase 2, inspections repeatedly found flaws in the concrete that was used. This caused years of delays. Eventually, on November 15, 2022, Phase 2 of the Silver Line opened. This included the stations at Reston Town Center, Herndon, Innovation Center, Dulles Airport, Loudoun Gateway, and Ashburn. That's right, while the main point of extending the Silver Line so far was to finally provide rail access to Dulles, the line does actually extend beyond the airport. But why? It has to do with the place we're visiting today, Loudoun County, Virginia. The Dulles station was to be in Loudoun, and what's more, they were going to build a yard about 3 miles away from Dulles, also in Loudoun County. So to build it, Loudoun would have to join Metro's capital funding agreement. Basically, they became part of WMATA. And with Loudoun now being a member, well, it makes sense to have a few stations in their jurisdiction, not just a yard. Plus, now more of the line to the yard becomes useful for revenue service, rather than having a really long stretch of track where trains are running out of service. The stations in Loudoun County were also seen as an exciting opportunity for development, where more people could live and work. But as we're about to see, that part might still need some work. Okay, this is Loudoun Gateway Station, the stop before Ashburn. I just got off here because I have a little bit of time before my bus in Ashburn, and also This is a controversial station. It is the least used station in the entire metro system. Out of all 98, this one sees the least passengers. In June of 2025, Loudoun Gateway saw a daily average of 465 people tap into the station. I've never fully understood the obsession with least used stations, but for those of you who have it, here it is. But that is used as a major critique of this station. The surroundings, there's not much here. There's a giant parking garage there, and so people are saying this was a waste of money. Trains shouldn't stop here. Well, I don't know. I don't think I share the visceral disdain for this station that some transit fans do. I mean, yeah, there's not a lot here except for a parking garage, which looks pretty empty. But there is a lot of land here. I've noticed some construction vehicles. This area does have potential, and it connects straight to a bus station, which is where I am right now. So don't write it off yet. I think with proper policymaking and investments, this could actually be a very useful station. Also remember, Loudoun County was an important stakeholder in the construction of the Silver Line. I understand why they would want at least 3 stations within their county. I'm cautiously optimistic. That is, there is a chance for things to improve, but it will take some serious changes. To the people who say Loudoun Gateway should have never been built and will never be useful, I'd say that that's overly reactionary. This area just needs some serious transit-oriented development, houses and businesses in walking distance from the station. But to the people who say, just wait and see, in 10 years it'll all be built up, I would say it's not that simple either. Right now, the area is surrounded by data centers. So obviously the data centers take up space that could be used otherwise, but even if you built housing next to them, it's not ideal for living. Data centers use cooling equipment and backup generators, which make noise and emit smells. But they only have a lifespan of about 10 to 20 years. So when they're done, can we build apartments? Well, Loudoun County bureaucracy might get in the way of that. The county has the Airport Impact Overlay District, a special zoning area that limits construction because of airplane noise. And Loudoun Gateway falls right in the strictest zone, where no residential buildings are allowed to be built. So the county will have to rezone the area for transit-oriented development. In the meantime, there are some short-term improvements that could boost ridership. Currently, there are 3 bus routes that serve the station. That could be more, and parking could be improved. Listen, I'm pro walking and transit over cars every day of the week, but I'm also realistic. There are a lot of communities a driving distance away from the station, and there's a giant parking garage already there. It's underused, partially because currently they do not allow overnight parking. If they allowed this, then people from suburban Virginia could park there for cheaper than they could at Dulles Airport, and then take the metro. It would mean more parking revenue, so it could increase the usefulness of the station as the work for better development continues. And now we've arrived at Ashburn, the end of the Silver Line. We're over 30 miles away from Metro Center, and slightly closer to the border with West Virginia than the border with Washington, D.C. In June of 2025, Ashburn saw a daily average of 2,080 tap-ins. Beyond the station, the tracks extend just a little bit further to a tail track where trains can be stored. It takes you more than an hour to get here, and $6.75, so I'm very grateful for my university pass. Here we are going to change to a bus. Loudoun County Transit runs buses to Leesburg, Virginia here. Leesburg is a major city in Loudoun County, and in Leesburg we'll continue even further, but this part of the journey shouldn't take too long. Ashburn is served by 12 different bus routes, all operated by Loudoun County Transit. Beware though, some routes leave from the bus bays on the north side of the station, some from the south side. We are riding Route 351 today, which connects Ashburn Station with the Loudoun County Government Center in Leesburg. Back when I filmed this, rides cost $1, but since 2025, local bus routes in Loudoun County are free. One thing I found interesting, usually on buses, the top screen shows the route number and the destination, while the small bottom one shows a specific run number. But here, for some reason, the top screen only shows the destination and the bottom one shows the route number. Anyways, let's get on board. So I'm on the Loudoun County Transit bus. First time for me, actually. Route 351 to Leesburg Government Center. And this should actually be a pretty short run, only about 20 minutes or so. Covering around 11 miles in distance, the 351 only runs on weekdays, between every 30 minutes to every hour throughout the day. In the morning, like right now, it's a straight shot from Ashburn to the government center. Then it stops by a park and ride before returning to Ashburn. However, in the afternoon, it switches and the buses hit the park and ride first. Loudoun County Transit has three kinds of routes. In and around Leesburg, there are the local routes. These are numbered in the double digits, between 40 and 82. Then there are the local metro routes. These specifically connect communities with the Silver Line, are numbered in the 300s, and just like other local routes, they are free to ride. Loudoun County Transit also operates a large commuter bus network. These run directly into Washington, D.C. They cost $11 if you pay with SmartTrip, $12 cash. These are numbered in the 200s and 400s inbound in the morning, 600s and 800s in the afternoon outbound. Loudoun County was established in 1757, and you may have heard of this place before. It is the wealthiest county in the United States. The median household income is $150,000. That's not to say everyone who lives here is loaded, of course not, but there are some very rich people here. In the late 1990s, America Online moved their headquarters to the county. If you don't know what America Online is, you may know them by their more common name, AOL. And if you still don't know, well, enjoy being young. It doesn't last forever, or so I've heard. Well, with AOL in Loudoun, tons of internet-related companies moved to be nearby, which is how the data centers appeared. Add in the massive popularity of the internet, sprinkle in some government contracts, and you've got yourself the wealthiest county in the country. All right, the Loudoun County Government Center in Leesburg, Virginia. This is America's richest county. And this part's not ugly, but everything else I've seen. So the bus drops you off on a corner right in front of the government building, which is convenient, also right in front of a gas station. And I don't have a lot of time here, about 12 minutes to catch the next bus. Fortunately, it leaves from the very same stop, so that is super convenient. We're going to be taking the Purcellville Connector to Purcellville, Virginia, still in Loudoun County, but Purcellville is so far away that this bus service isn't even operated by Loudoun County Transit through an agency known as Virginia Regional Transit. Once again, if you ride this bus now, it's free, but back then I had to pay $1 in cash. So now we're on another 10-mile ride, this time to Purcellville. Now on maps and signs, Route 40 is labeled as just another Loudoun County Transit route. But the outside of the bus clearly looks different, and it says Virginia Regional Transit. Virginia Regional Transit is in fact a non-profit organization. It was founded in 1990 and it operates transit routes in communities across Virginia, either in places that don't have other transit or where larger transit agencies could not justify the cost of running certain routes. They even run a bus in Orange, Virginia called the Toot. I gotta go ride that. But wait, a non-profit? That's right, Virginia Regional Transit is a 501c3. So does that mean the $1 that I just spent is tax deductible? Important questions. The Purcellville Connector runs every hour on weekdays only. The first bus leaves Purcellville for Leesburg at 7 in the morning, and the last bus from Leesburg back to Purcellville leaves at 6:30 p.m. This minibus was definitely the most comfortable vehicle I've been on today, and the driver was 10 out of 10. He gave me recommendations for restaurants, shops, and trails to check out. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to check out your recommendations. Have a good rest of your shift. We are in Purcellville. The air actually smells like barbecue here. I have no idea what's going on. Very much a small town feel. We're not even that far away from Washington, D.C., but it feels very far. We're only a few miles from West Virginia, and this is where the public transportation stops. This is the farthest you can get from Ashburn, which is the farthest metro station from downtown Washington, D.C. My driver was so nice. Once he knew that I was just checking out Purcellville just because, he gave me all sorts of recommendations of stores to check out, trails to walk, restaurant. He was like, I really, really recommend this. I'm something of a foodie myself. I was like, okay, well, if you say it's good, I have to go. So let's just start exploring. So I asked the driver to drop me off at the Purcellville train station. Now, the station isn't served by trains anymore, but the railroads did reach it in 1874, and for many years, it was served by the Washington and Old Dominion Railroad. Washington and Old Dominion ran all the way up to Bluemont, and for a while, it was an electric interurban, so you could get on a streetcar in Washington, D.C., change to the W&OD, and then travel all the way out here. Now, the tracks have been ripped up and replaced by a trail. The W&OD is one of the most interesting railroads in DC history, and I am working on a video dedicated to it, scheduled to come out later this year. So for now, let's explore Purcellville. This town has a population of 8,000, and we're only about 5 miles from the border with West Virginia. Unfortunately, many of the town's original buildings were destroyed by fires in the early 1900s. My bus driver had recommended visiting this hardware store, but I was a little confused. It was just a hardware store? So I googled it, and the hardware store really should be appreciated for its historic value and the fact that it is still family owned. I went to the antique store next door, and let me tell you, they had some good stuff. I just bought the coolest thing in there. I can't wait to show you. So I'm at the Purcellville Family Restaurant. My bus driver told me if I eat anywhere in Purcellville, it has to be here. I just went for a cheeseburger and fries. Really excited to try it. Wow, that was pretty good. At first, when I saw the prices on that menu, I was like, oh, these are Loudoun County prices. But then when I saw the size of the burger, as well as the speed of service, I was like, no, this is totally worth it. You know, Purcellville has pleasantly surprised me. I don't know why, but I was expecting strip malls. Instead, you got that real small town American charm. I mean, you can tell everybody knows each other here. Nevertheless, the vibe is different from like my Tom in the Midwest series, where I went to small towns in Wisconsin and Illinois and stuff. I would definitely come back. Anyway, let me quickly show you what I bought at the antique store. It's a San Francisco cable car, but look. It's a phone. How sweet is that? Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. Now we know the farthest you can get from the farthest metro station is Purcellville, and it's worth coming to. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome, follow us on social media, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully this bus comes soon.